G'day community and welcome to another hobby vlog. This channel is called Alexi Does. I am Alexi and I do things on it. This is the February hobby vlog. I am recording this on the 18th of March 2024. I wanted to do this much earlier, but for those of you who don't know me from the hobby stuff, you'll know that the footy AFL, the Australian Football League season starts. I have a lot of content, a lot of side hustles, a lot of gigs that I have to dedicate time to for that. So March was running slow in terms of hobbies, which meant I've been drastically quickly trying to paint stuff up so that there would be a video for March, which delayed the video for February, which doesn't make any sense. I could have just made this video anyway. Doesn't matter. It's here, and I've achieved a hobby vlog. I've achieved a hobby goal, something that I've been waiting to do for almost 20 years. Whenever the Battle Games in Middle-earth magazines first came out, I always wanted to have a fully painted, high-quality Fellowship of the Ring metal set painted, and it is done. You've seen that progress. Now you will see the completed project, and it's one that I'm very, very proud of and very, very excited to share. So if you are a fellow hobby person watching this, push this video to the side, minimize it, or chuck it on your second monitor. Have a listen, and when you hear me talking about a new model, look up and have a glance. Otherwise, just enjoy me talking about, well, a bit of nonsense really, isn't it? Please, if you are watching, like and subscribe, comment, hit notifications, because I realize that I am inconsistent in uploading. So if you hit the bell, you will get notified when a video goes up. Other than that, if you like it, let me know. Share it around. Good times. Let's head over to the hobby desk. Okay, so we've jumped on down to the hobby desk. And in terms of number of models painted, it's bloody low for February. But what it did achieve, as I said in the intro, was a hobby goal that I've had for almost, if not, 20 years. Now, Frodo, who you've already seen if you've watched the last vlog, was the last Hobbit that I painted in... I showed him in the last video, but he was painted technically in February. So he was in the January review, but he was painted on the 1st or the 2nd of February. So you've seen him in all of his glory. Keen-eyed viewers and those who remember will know that we only had 2 Fellowship members left to paint. Boromir and Gandalf. So we will start with Boromir as I slightly mess with the frame here. And again, a model I'm super, super happy with. I've only ever painted Boromir once when I first got the magazine in the early 2000s, and I did a pretty bad job. I don't have a comparison model because this is the original model which I stripped many, many years ago for a project that never actually happened. But now Boromir is done. And to me, the sign that the paint job is pretty good is that he looks like Sean Bean to me. I never knew, or I never thought these sculpts looked like the actors at all. And it turns out that was a problem for me more than the sculptors, who are really talented. Really happy with the subtle shift in shade on his shield there. No, it was in fact me that was the issue. These models are, particularly for the age, quite well sculpted. There's a reason that this game and this collection was really popular. I guess with my focus on this model was in the depth in the face and the transitions from shadow to light. The hair I'm particularly happy with as well. I really like his horn. And then, again, a bit more subtle with the transitions on his clothes and on the fabric. Some of the early models from this Fellowship are a little bit more stark in the terms of the contrast from the high points to the low points. I think as I progressed through this project, I got a little bit more subtle with how I painted these models. So that's Boromir. Now the final model of the group, we may need to shift the camera again. But this one is... Gandalf the Grey. And unlike my Hobbit Gandalf, which you might have seen in some other videos. In fact, you would have seen in the 2023 review, I painted his hat blue. Again, really happy with this. You can't see his face all that well, but I didn't do eyebrows. It wasn't the style at the time, but I did do a lot of detailing on his face. Was really happy. Again, Planet Mithril, the guides that he produces are amazing, and really the reason I'm able to replicate these, because on my own, I don't know that I'd be able to get close to the movie colours or the portrayals of the characters in the movies. I think without the guidance of Planet Mithril, who hopefully has seen these videos, I just don't think I would have been able to do it. But again, really happy. I was a little annoyed painting Gandalf just because I'd painted one semi-recently and put so much time into it, but I think the end product is a really well-painted miniature, if I don't say so myself. So if they are the only 3 models that I painted in February, what did I do with all my time? Well, A, I was busy, but B, now we get to look at the complete project. And I am very happy. We're actually going to switch to a different camera setup for that because the depth of field on this camera is too shallow and we won't be able to show it off. So bear with me. Hopefully the different camera setup looks fine. But we'll head there now to wide camera. Okay, and we've switched to wide. Hey, it turns out that using the 15-year-old photography camera for video is not much better, if not better at all, than the brand new iPhone. So this may be the new tactic moving forward. So, I mean, there's no point hiding it. Here's the base that came with the original magazines. It was a mail away for the Battle Games in Middle-earth magazines. And as you can see, it is a gorgeous piece of display. I guess it's a display board. I'm not sure what you would call this. Let me know what you would call it. I'll call it a display board. It obviously looks great just in terms of the design. I think painting it helps as well. But this is something that I've literally wanted to see on the table in front of me for, as I said, almost 20 years. Now you'll notice a couple of things straight up, and I'll put up some photos now. I added a lot of gravel to the base to blend it in with the bases of my Fellowship models. You see I did a little bit of sculpting on the tomb, Balin's tomb. It's not the most amazing sort of sculpting work in the world, but I think it gets the job done, and I think the paint job kind of hides the rough edges that I did. And then finally, obviously, I've added Gimli the dwarf to the top, and that's why, if you go back to my January vlog, I painted 2 Gimlis, because now one is permanently affixed to the top of Balin's tomb. And as you can see here, I was never happy with the circular base being cut into Balin's actual tomb. And the reason was because you either based Gimli like you based the rest of your Fellowship, and he looked out of place, or you based him to match the tomb, and he looked out of place when they were off the display. Now, before I get into what it looks like with all the models on there, you can see I've obviously painted the Fellowship of the Ring. I've painted it gold. I'll hold this up here. I went through and I painted all the pages and just gave them a wash. I didn't bother with putting ink or writing on them. I think they look fine. Just a heavy wash across basically everything. We've got the axes. It's a little difficult to work out what's what on the model, particularly might want to add a little bit of damage over the years. I attempted to paint the Games Workshop logo as the actual colours, but it just didn't quite work out. So just went with a gold with a wash there. You're never going to see it. You can see here. Oh no, I'm blanking on which dead dwarf this is, and I'm losing all of my Middle Earth cred. It's Ori or Owen or Owen. It's someone. I feel like it's Ori. Oh God, I don't know. Oh, judge me. And then it looks okay, the sculpting I've done here. Obviously, I've rounded the tomb a little bit more than it was. There's a little nick in there. And I know dwarves are master stoneworkers, but I've still got the inscription there. What I did is I took the plastic base from the plastic Balin's Tomb set, and I cut that, glued it down, and then milliput/green stuffed around the edge. And look, I think it definitely serves its purpose, and I think it definitely helps that there's a well-painted, in my opinion, dwarf hiding all of the mistakes on top. So, what does it look like? I also considered, before I do that, painting all the names in here gold, but I think they'll wear off a bit when the bases of the other models are in there, so I just left them. Just a bit of dry brushing, and these are dry brushed the same way as all of my Fellowship and all of my Moria Goblins, which is basically gravel, and then Mechanica Standard Grey, Heavy Wash, Mechanica Standard Grey, Dawnstone, and then a little bit of Administratum Grey. And I think it comes up bloody top notch, and you can't tell the difference between sort of the gravel I put on and the gravel that's sort of built into the sculpt. And I think that is a huge win, and I think that blends in perfectly. So let's look at what it looks like when it's all put together. Frodo, he goes up the back here. Gandalf, he sits in here. Boromir, Aragorn up the front. Legolas, he sits there. Samwise Gamgee, always protecting Frodo Baggins from trouble. And then last but not least, of course, it is Pippin and Merry. And that, my friends, is a 20-year project that I am absolutely enamored by. It feels so good, despite the fact that it basically took 2 months to do, and the model count is rather small given my lofty goals for the year. But given what has been produced, I just can't tell you how happy I am. How seamless the bases are to blend in. You can obviously slightly see the brown rims, but that's how I rim my minis, and it matches the brown rims of the display. And I think just all in all, it's just bloody nice. So that's the project, and it's complete. It's a big goal I had heading into this year. It's so nice for it to be done in the first 2 months of the year. Yes, I'm quite sweaty because despite it being the 18th of March, it's still like 32 degrees in Australia and in my house, and with all the lights on, it's only adding to it. But that's fine because we're having fun and we're hobbying. The good news is I'll have a little bit to show you in the March vlog, a couple of different things, a bit of shift in models, get a bit of a palette cleanser. And then I still haven't decided what the goal is for the rest of the year, despite all the help you've had on that video, which if you haven't watched the Help Me Choose My Army for 2024, go and watch that. Let me know what I should paint. But a little bit of me is kind of waiting to see what these new models are that Games Workshop is going to release for Middle-earth. There's a little bit of me that's kind of holding out and just doing side projects until then. So you'll see some of those side projects in March, but ultimately I just wanted to reiterate how exciting it is and how privileged I am to have the time to put into my hobby. I know not everyone has that. I'm lucky enough, and I understand that I'm very lucky to do that. My darling, beautiful partner puts up with me spending a lot of time in here painting my little men, talking to myself, so thank you to her. And in that same vein, thank you to all the lovely YouTubers who have been helping me out, giving me some advice, and to Damien, especially from Battle Streams in Middle-earth, who does amazing videos and has been really supportive and positive towards what I'm trying to do here. So that's enough babbling. If you have watched this long, thank you. Please like, subscribe, please comment, and if you aren't a hobby person and you are one of the many AFL, Australian Football League people who have followed me out of the kindness of your heart, thank you. Hit me up on Twitter for football content, but here it's just painting cool shit, baby.